Welcome everyone to the College Success Coalition Introduction webinar. First of all, let's just begin by introducing the College Success Coalition team. My name is Sue Reynolds. I'm responsible for the Coalition program design. With us also is Bruce Ricklin, who does the Coalition logistics, and Susan Tharp and Mary Beth Granderson, who are CSC consultants. They're the ones that work directly with the counties to help the coalitions become established and then also so that they'll sustain. Also on the team is Tatum Miller at Learn More Indiana, and Tatum is responsible for the CSC grants. And then, of course, Jason Bierce, who is the Learn More Director, and Teresa Lubbers, who is the Commission for Higher Education Commissioner. We do have a large number of participants on this call. There are actually 55 people who have registered for the webinar who will have joined us already or will be joining us as we go. And just an FYI, those folks are from all different types of community organizations. Some of you represent community foundations. Some represent schools, higher education institutions, youth service organizations, professional associations, and businesses. So I think the one thing that you all have in common is that you see a value in post-secondary education, and also you care very much about kids. Here's our agenda for today. We'll be talking very quickly about these 6 questions. What is the College Success Coalition? Why get involved? Who leads the College Success Coalition at the county level? What support is available? How much time is this going to take you? And how does your county apply? And then at the end of the webinar, we'll take your questions and answer any questions that you might have. So before we get started, one quick definition. You'll hear us use over and over again the term college. It's in the title of the initiative, as well as it'll come up in many, many slides. And we want you to know that we're using the term college very broadly. College, when we use it, includes 4-year colleges, 2-year colleges, apprenticeship programs, career colleges, and also job training in the military. So really any type of viable post-secondary education we're including in the term college. Okay, so let's begin just by looking at what is the College Success Coalition. College Success Coalition, or CSC as we refer to it, is a county-based network of community organizations who actively work to increase college access and college success. So the goals of each county coalition is to increase the percentage of students who enter college in the fall following their high school graduation, and then also to increase the percentage of students who earn a college certificate or diploma within 4 years of their high school graduation. So a student who's working on an associate degree, of course, is going to complete that, if they're completing on time, is going to complete within 2 years. But what we want to take is a data point at the end of 4 years to see what percentage of the high school graduates have some type of post-secondary credential. And then the third goal is to increase the number of citizens in your county who have a college credential. So that would not only include your students who are graduating from high school, but also your adult learners who are going back to college to complete a credential or to start college to earn a credential. So our vision is this. Imagine a community that has high expectations for all students and all adult learners in their community. And imagine a community where there's caring people everywhere who are providing consistent messages about the importance of college and also the support needed to get to college and to succeed in college. Our idea is that wherever people turn, there's folks who will talk about college and promote college and also know how to get to college, the steps to get it to college, and to prepare for college in every way so that the people are successfully completing college. So we have many active counties already. The counties on the map started coalitions last year or the year before. We're really pleased with this county. I think in all of my work, this has been one of our most successful initiatives, and I think Learn More has really done a wonderful job with promoting and supporting the counties that are involved in the coalition. So here's the numbers. In the first 2 years that Learn More has been doing the coalition, 975 organizations across the county have joined the coalition, and they've documented 1,291 different college access or college success activities that they've implemented in their communities. So this is really kind of creating a grassroots movement where there are local organizations who are really committed to helping the young people and the adult learners in their community take that step to college and then complete college. Typical member organizations tend to fall into these 5 categories, and as I look at who's registered for today's webinar, I think all of you fit into one of these areas. Some member organizations are organizations that are focused on youth, so schools, youth service organizations, faith-based organizations. Some are focused on parents, like parent-teacher associations. Some member organizations are focused on bettering the community, so community councils, mayor's offices, community foundations, service clubs. Other member organizations are focused on enhancing the county's economy, so economic development councils are members, businesses and industries are members. And then some organizations are focused on higher ed, so I know on today's call we have several four-year colleges that are represented, career colleges, apprenticeship programs. So all of these types of organizations are interested in helping kids be successful in post-secondary. And it's just really kind of cool when they all join forces and work together in a very coordinated way to make that happen. So just again to give you a picture then of what happens is these are actual organizations in counties that started their coalition last year or the year before that have implemented activities. And 2 that I just kind of tickle me that I wanted to bring to your attention. One was the Sherman-Williams paint store in Terre Haute that after getting involved in their coalition in their county decided that they would do a little presentation on 529 plans for their employees. So again, it's just one small organization, but they're reaching a number of people in the community. Another one that just tickles me is Vernon, Indiana is a very small community, and the mayor's office there joined his coalition in his county, and the mayor started a college encouragement initiative in Vernon. And so you can see all throughout the state there's all of these 975 different organizations that are doing something to reach kids and reach adult learners and encourage and support them in their journey to college and college success. So some of you may be asking why get involved. My guess is you're probably maybe not asking that so much because I'm guessing that you see why you should be involved or you wouldn't have taken the time to participate in this call. But just a little summary. We know that when people have more education, their individual income increases. The slide that you're looking at right now is data from last July, 2012, that shows the median weekly income for individuals with different levels of education. And of course, the message here is the more education you have, the more income there is. Another thing that I think is very interesting is that studies have shown that the income level of high school dropouts and those with just a high school diploma also increased when the percentage of citizens in a community with a college credential increases. So as your county is increasing the percentage of residents, of citizens with a college credential, you're also increasing the income level of high school dropouts and those that just have a high school diploma with no college. Another just thing to think about is that the labor force quality upon which education is the strongest proven influence has a consistent, stable, and strong relationship with economic growth. So as your community is working to increase the percentage of citizens that have a post-secondary degree, you're also improving the quality of your labor force. And that in turn then increases the your economic growth. Another impact of post-secondary is the impact on unemployment rate. This is data from 2011. It's the most current data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And this shows that as one has more education, unemployment decreases. So just another positive for another reason for increasing the percentage of citizens who have a post-secondary credential. And finally, it's also been proven that college degree holders smoke less than half the national average, exercise twice as much, spend more time on education with their children, volunteer twice as often, and vote at a rate that's 20 to 30% higher. So there's a lot of different reasons why it's helpful to your community to have a higher percentage of citizens who hold a post-secondary credential. So the next question is, if you're interested in perhaps starting a coalition in your county, who leads this initiative? Who's the flag waver? Who gets this started? Well, it really starts with one person, and that can be you. The one person puts together a steering team. We'll talk in a few minutes about how to do that. And then that steering team supports all of the member organizations. Steering team members facilitate discussions. They recruit member organizations. And they support those member organizations as the member organizations are starting to think about what activities they can do to increase post-secondary access and success. Steering team has 8 members on it, and member organizations can, the sky's the limit. We have several counties that have, 100+ member organizations in their county. So the steering team, if you're interested in starting coalition, you would put together a steering team that has these 8 members. These are really the worker bees that get the coalition going. They evaluate the coalition. They facilitate local discussions. The 8 members include someone representing local government. So that would be someone that you would recruit. Could be someone from the mayor's office. It could be somebody from a county council. But it does need to be a worker bee. It's going to be someone that's going to complete tasks in between training sessions that the steering team attends. So someone from local government, someone from the Chamber of Commerce, or someone representing economic development, someone from a community from your community foundation, a high school counseling director, college admissions rep. That could be from an Ivy Tech or an apprenticeship program or a 4-year program. Someone from a faith-based organization, someone from a youth service organization like a Boys Club or Girl Scouts or a group that serves youth, and then someone from a service club like Kiwanis or Optimist or something like that. So these folks are going to be implementing different activities between training sessions that they attend. Each person will have an individualized homework assignment after the trainings. We'll provide everything that person needs. And then one of the important tasks that they have is to recruit others that are like them. So you may have one representative from a faith-based organization, but one of their jobs then is going to be to go out and recruit all the other faith-based organizations in your county to join the coalition. You have one high school counseling director on the steering team, but that person's job is to go and recruit all the other high school counseling directors in the county. So those are the worker bees, and the main part of the application, which we'll look at later, the main part of the application is to identify who are these worker bees going to be on your steering team. So the next question then is, what support is available? One of the things that we really pride ourselves in is in providing you every bit of support that you need to make this task as easy as possible for you. So one of the main things that we do is we provide leadership development training for your steering team. The first year there's 5 meetings in Indianapolis. The first one on November 29th and the last one on April 24th is required for the entire steering team. And then the 3 in between, you only need to send 2 people from your county to. You can send more if you want to, but 2 is the minimum. So basically, what we're doing at each of those workshops is training your steering team on what to do during the next 4 to 6 weeks. So at that first training on November 29th, we're training your steering team on how to go out and recruit member organizations. So we're going to give you time to brainstorm who should be recruited. We'll provide you all kinds of tools for doing that, talking points, sample letters, sample brochures, just all kinds of resources. So, and then when you leave that meeting, the homework is for each of the steering team members to recruit a few members. Then when you come back in January, you've got your member organizations in place. And then we're going to get ready for member meeting 1. So whoever's going to facilitate member meeting 1 would come in January, and we'll teach them, we will provide for you achievement data for your county. That data is also disaggregated by individual school, and it can also be disaggregated by ethnic groups, by economic level. I mean, there's lots of different ways that that data can be looked at. It's very interesting, and to our knowledge, is the first time that county-level data has been available in Indiana. Then, after that data study, your member organizations, you will facilitate discussion of all your member organizations who will come up with your county vision and your county goals. And again, we'll give you all the resources you need. So you'll have discussion prompts and facilitator guides and PowerPoint presentations and scripts. Everything to facilitate that discussion we'll provide for you, and then your members will actually do the talking. So that happens in January. In February, we'll get ready to facilitate the second discussion, which is a review of force field data, which we will also provide for you. That is data that tells you the degree to which students in your county are making good decisions in areas that impact college access and college success. And we'll ask you to, you'll ask your member organizations to identify areas of concern for your county. And maybe things like your students don't submit the FAFSA, or they don't do campus visits, or they haven't taken the SAT, or they've never talked to their parents about, or an adult who provides guidance for them about college. So that happens in February. We identify areas of concern. And then in March, we'll train the steering team on how to talk to your member organizations about providing college access activities themselves, and then how to document those activities. And then finally, in April, we'll bring back the entire steering team again, and we'll talk big time about sustaining your coalition. One of the things we'll help you do is to set up a governance system. It can be something very simple, like we're just going to be a loosely knit group of friends that's just going to kind of do this on a very loose basis. It could also be we're going to be a group of friends, but we want bylaws to guide us. Or it could be that you want to start a nonprofit and have this work turn into a nonprofit in your community. That's totally up to you. It's perfectly okay to do this as a group of friends, just loosely organized. So that's the leadership development. Then we also will provide for you a management system to help you manage your coalition. The management system website is listed there, learnmoreindiana.org/CSC. And to get into any parts that are password protected, so the actual admin system for the steering team is password protected. If you use demo 123, that will open up demo county, so you can kind of go in and click things and look around and kind of see what that's all about. But basically, when you do click into the password protected part, you get a management system for your coalition that looks like this. And as the steering team, then you're able to enter minutes for your member meetings, the 3 member meetings. You're able to enter as the products of those meetings, so your vision statement, goals, your areas of concern, the activities that your member organizations are going to do, an annual budget, and then next year the progress reports on how the activities are going. So that's all set up for you. The whole online system is basically just fill in the blanks. You know, there'll be questions and you fill them in, and then from that, nice reports will come out. Your county vision statement, your county goals, your county areas of concern. those will all pop out. Also, in the online system, there's a steering team manual. I'm showing you on the screen just the resources that we're providing for the first discussion at home. So you can see there's a cover sheet, that's a template that you can type in the name of your county on, a sample agenda that you can use as is or edit it to meet your needs, PowerPoints, some different discussion prompts. And then in the tools section down at the bottom, we're providing for you the first one there, Meeting One Prep. That's just how to get ready for that first discussion at home. And then the next one is a sample of a product that would come out of this meeting. And then the next one is, what do you do after this meeting? What are the tasks that need to be done? So again, we've tried to make this very step-by-step, that each time you meet with us, we're going to give you a few steps of the process to do, and then you'll go home, meet with your advisory council, meet with your member organizations, and then do them. Another really, I think, strong part of this initiative, which is maybe what really helped it to be so successful, is that there's a lot of hand-holding with this. After you finish a step of the process, you'll submit it to Learn More, and then Learn More will review it against criteria that they have that we know are indicators of really strong coalitions. And so when a county is ready to submit work to Learn More, they just enter it, and then they can either print a report or they can click the submit icon, and that just sends it right off to Learn More to look at. Then after Learn More has looked at the submission, then they also in the online system provide feedback. So here is the steering team roster. That's the very first step that you would do as the initiator of this in your county, is to put together that steering team roster. Here's the list of what we're looking for, and then is there a contact person identified. So in this case, the county did both of these things. They both got checked, and then the reviewer sent the county a message. Great job. The diversity of your steering team will help considerably in your discussions. Our commitment is to provide this written feedback to you within 48 hours, and the feedback will always say that the status will always be either that it meets criteria, or it might say needs revision. We've been doing this work of creating networks for about 20 years, and we know points at which networks can go down a wrong road. And if we think that that's happening, we'll ask you to revise and redo something. We'll always provide written feedback and lots of help so that when the revision comes back in, it will be done in a way that's going to make you successful. Okay. Then there's all kinds of other resources that are provided to the coalitions. One is the Learn More website. There's just a gazillion different resources on the Learn More website that are helpful to coalitions. You'll also get copies of the Indiana Learn More magazines, and those are provided to students through the schools. Each school receives a copy of the magazines for every student in the school, but additional copies are provided for the coalitions so that in meetings that you might be having in the community with young people or with adult learners, you can distribute those magazines and do the activities in them with participants as well. Learn More has 3 campaigns, fall, winter, and summer. And the fall campaign is just kicked off, and that's the plan, the campaign that's focused on planning for college. And then the winter is focused on preparing for college, the Cash for College campaign. And then the Know How to Go campaign this summer is about I have those backwards. The Know How to Go is about preparing, and the Cash for College is for paying. Most counties will align their work with these campaigns. So member organizations will all, rally together in the fall and be part of the College Go campaign, or they'll rally together in the winter and be part of the Cash for College campaign. One other resource that is available in the counties, is a speakers bureau. So if there is a member organization like a Boy Scout troop, that would like to have a speaker come to do a presentation on financial aid or the steps that 8th graders take to college or whatever, using the online system, you can request a speaker. You can also volunteer to be a speaker, and there's training and scripts in the presentations, and you can be approved by Learn More to do those presentations on behalf of Learn More. And then Learn More will just then work to match up requests locally with local presenters. Okay, then there's the funding. We, I think, are so fortunate in Indiana that this initiative is accompanied by funding to help counties that are just starting with this get started. So the total funding that's available is $6,000. It comes in two parts. Immediately, the coalition qualifies for $1,000 in startup funding. So the deliverable for the startup funding is to have your steering team roster entered online, and then also to have a fiscal agent identified. Those things you do at the first training, so we'll kind of walk you through that. And then there's, of course, some paperwork to fill out for Learn More. And then at that point, the coalition receives the first payment of $1,000. That can support really anything that you want to use it for to get your coalition started. So if you're having a meeting and you want to purchase refreshments, that can be used for that. It can be used for travel for your steering team to come to the steering team trainings, printing for your local meetings, brochures for your local meetings to get your campaign started, to get your coalition started. Really just very much up to you how to use that funding. Then at the end of the year, so next June-ish, 2013, by then your county would have worked through all the different steps of the vision to action process. So you'll have a county vision, you'll have county goals, you'll have county concerns that you want to all work on together. Your members will have entered activities into the online system and documented them that they're going to do. You'll have identified a governance system, which could be just a loose-knit group of friends, but you've identified how you're going to sustain, what system's going to help sustain you. And then a budget for the coming year that talks about not only how are you going to spend the $5,000, but also are there other income sources that you'll be able to draw from to support your coalition, and then how are you going to spend this money. So again, the $5,000, the expectation is that money is going to support your coalition. Some coalitions that have decided to start a nonprofit have used that funding to support a budget reserve as they're beginning. Other organizations have granted that to member organizations, small grants, a $500 grant to a school or a community organization to support a college activity that they're doing. So again, the $1,000 would come like immediately as soon as you've got your steering team established and a fiscal agent identified, and we will help you do that at the first meeting. And then at the end of the year, after you've completed the process, the $5,000 comes at that point. One other bit of support that we think is very, very helpful and are very committed to is providing you with on-call support. Susan Tharp and Mary Beth Granderson are serve counties as consultants for College Success Coalition. Some counties will be assigned to Susan, some counties will be assigned to Mary Beth. And what they will do is be at all the trainings. They'll read all of the submissions that you send in. They'll give you written feedback within 48 hours after you submit something. They both have a lot of experience with systems change. They have a lot of experience with the vision to action process and really understand how this works. The other thing is that we want to make sure that we know all of you have full-time jobs doing something else. So we want to make sure that when you have a question that you can get immediate response or almost immediate response. So part of Susan and Mary Beth's job is to just be at the phone waiting for you to call. We have a rule that we call the 5-minute rule, and that is if anyone is ever confused more than 5 minutes, you are required to call us. It always is frustrating when counties will say, well, we didn't want to bother you. We want you to bother us. So we're very committed to this. And I think Susan and Mary Beth would both tell you it's not really a 5-minute rule. It's really more like a 5-second rule. So we're very committed to this, and just know that if you decide to submit an application and start a coalition, we'll be there at your side, ready to help you in every way that we can. Okay, so that brings us up to the next question, and that is how much time is this going to take? Well, as you can imagine, this does take some time. There's training for the steering team, and there's recruiting for all the member organizations, and then going through the process, facilitating discussions with the data. But we have discovered that it's possible to make this very manageable by doing these 3 things. One thing is that the steering team is going to delegate tasks. So you may be a steering team member, but your only responsibility on that steering team might be to be the liaison to the local media. That's all you have to do. Another steering team member's job might be just to facilitate the local discussions. Another person's job is to make sure that all the submissions get turned in. At every meeting, every training, we sit down with the steering team and we explain to each person, this is your individualized homework assignment, so that not one person gets stuck with everything. So you can see, I hope, that who you put on that steering team is really important. You've got to have worker bees on your steering team, because if somebody falls through, then somebody else is going to have to do their work. We need really responsible people on the steering team who are going to follow through on the tasks that are assigned to them. When everybody does follow through, there's not an overload of work on any one person's shoulders. Also, the second bullet, we're going to provide for you a very clear step-by-step process. It's not necessary to understand the whole systemic change process. With this process, we're really changing the culture of your county. We're changing systemically. And it's not necessary in the beginning to understand every step. All you have to understand is what to do in the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then we'll go home, we'll do those steps, you'll come back, we'll teach the next steps that happen in the next 4 to 6 weeks, you go home and do those. And by the end of this process, by the end of the year, you will have worked through this very systemic process that's data-driven, that involves all different kinds of stakeholder groups and decision-making. It's a very powerful and successful and proven process. But you just learn it one step at a time. Very clear, very step-by-step, very doable. And then in the third bullet, the other thing that makes this not so time-consuming is that we're going to do all the, somebody joked with me once, you see what you're really doing is you're doing all the grunt work. Yeah, we're going to provide you with all the materials that you need. So scripts, PowerPoint presentations, sample agendas, sample documents, talking points, I mean just tons of stuff, so that you don't have to start from scratch. So all you have to do is to take what we give you, adapt it for your situation in your county, and then use it. And nothing's protected. You can change the wording on anything that you don't like. You can drop slides out of the PowerPoint presentations if you don't care for them. So we're doing all that grunt work for you so that you don't have to waste your time with that or spend your time with that, because we know that you're so busy already with your families and your jobs and all the other things that are on your plate. So how does your county get involved? How do you apply? When you go to the coalition website, which the address is at the top there again, learnmoreindiana.org/CSC, at the very top of that page, you'll see this little segment. And if you click on application, that will open the application for you. The application is a Word document, so you can type into it if you'd like to, and then just submit it. Also, I wanted to point out on here that later this evening, this webinar will be archived, so you'll be able to view it again if you have questions, or share it with other people in your county that you're maybe talking to about becoming members of your steering team. Okay, so here's what the application looks like. It's a 4-page application, and we tried to only ask for things that we needed, so I'm hoping that this won't take you a lot of time. The biggest part of the application is this part right here. We're looking here in this section in describing or naming the people that are going to be on your steering team. So who's going to be on your steering team, first of all, from local government, from your Chamber of Commerce or Economic Development, Community Foundation, counseling director, college admissions rep, a youth serving organization. So who are the 8 people that are going to be on your steering team? Really, when your application is being reviewed, what we're looking for there is the strength of the steering team. Once in a while, we'll get an application in that only has half of the steering team members filled in. That's not a very strong application. Or someone has not taken the time to write down the organization's name that the person represents. That's not a very strong application. What we want to make sure is that you've got the right people at the table. On the next page on the top, there's some suggestions there about how to really set the stage for success as you're putting together your steering team. So we're looking for, in the small print here, we're looking for somebody who has credibility in your community. Who's the person in your community that when they say this is a good idea, people will listen to them? Who's a natural leader? It may not be somebody that has the title. It may not be the mayor, but it's just somebody that is just good at stepping up and taking leadership for things. The next one is who has the natural ability to hold other people accountable. Who is the person in your community who, when they can say to other people on your steering team, you didn't complete that work, and that put all the rest of us into a bind, without making that other person upset. And who is the person that people just want to please, that they want them to be, they want to do well for that person. So someone who's just natural with accountability, that would be good. Who is a natural change maker? Think about other changes that have happened in your county. Who already has experience with bringing about systems change? It could be change in a church, or change on your county council, or change in a school system. Who's already somebody that has just natural skill at being a change maker? And then the last one is someone who has the ability to allocate resources. That could be the resource of time. It could be the resource of funding. Who has resources that they could, either themselves bring to the table, or who has credibility with folks in your community that have resources that could go to those people later. So that's in the middle of the page here. And then above that are the different jobs that the steering team members are going to have. So top one says member recruitment. So that doesn't mean that they have to recruit all the members. It just means that they're responsible for coordinating the 8 steering team members' effort to recruit members. Next one is member meetings. That person's going to be responsible for making sure that the member discussions happen. They don't have to facilitate those meetings. They just have to make sure that they happen. Next one is member activities. That's the person who's really going to be the coach to the member organizations to help them think about what activities each of their organizations can implement, and then to get those activities entered online. Speakers Bureau, the one person will be responsible for making sure that community organizations are using the Speakers Bureau, and that also people in your county are volunteering to be speakers for your county. Your fiscal agents, someone will have that responsibility. That could be the community foundation. In some of the counties, it's a school. It's just somebody who's willing to accept checks on behalf of the coalition and then write checks when you need to have a check written. Number 6 is someone who's going to take responsibility for communications, especially with the media. 7 is a liaison to state agencies. So when Learn More is getting ready to do their Know How to Go campaign, they'll send materials to the coalition via that person to use locally. And then number 8 is any activities that the steering team decides to do. In some counties, the steering team decides to sponsor an activity in addition to the member organizations. And then that person will be responsible for making sure that those activities get organized and are done well. So so that's the main part of the application is getting that steering team together. There's been 2 cases where counties did not complete the process in good standing, and really in both cases it was because the steering team was weak. The steering team was not a good one to begin with. So really think who has that different criteria that we talked about, and who can fill those positions, who will be worker bees. And then the next section is asking you to do 3 very short, very short essays. One is just a rationale for why does your county want to do this? Why is this a good fit for your county? And then the other one is to provide some evidence that at least one person on your steering team already has experiences with being a change maker in your county. And again, it could be in their Boy Scout troop or in their church or in a service club or whatever, who has experience with change. Okay, next 2 sections are the assurances, and the next page is the assurances. And that section, just please read that carefully. We view this as a contract, and we're making you assurances that will provide certain things for you. And then we also want you to make an assurance to us that you're going to participate fully and complete tasks and attend meetings and that kind of stuff. So read that carefully. We do expect that when you submit this application and put your names to it, that you are going to fulfill those assurances. And you have our commitment that we will fulfill the assurances that we're making to you as well. And finally, the last page has some information about deadlines. I'll show you those in a sec. And then at the very bottom are the steering team signatures, so that we know that all 8 steering team members have read the assurances and are on board. I think, if you look back, what are you receiving that will help you start this? I think a lot of times what initially gets people to the table is the funding, but I'm hoping you're seeing that this program is rich with technical support, and the funding really is secondary. What's most important are the materials and the expertise of the staff that's on our end that's going to help you do this, and if you get stuck or hit resistance, we'll be able to help you figure out how to succeed and how to sustain. Okay, a couple more slides. Biggest mistake is putting people on your steering team that are not worker bees. I've mentioned that before, and I just can't emphasize that enough. Here's the timeline. So first steps were to do the initial workshop that we held earlier in October, and then today's webinar. Then, beginning the week of October 23rd, we will begin calling you. If you participated on this webinar, we'll give you a call during that week. And what we want to do is just to check with you to see, can we help you? Are you planning on putting together an application? Are you having trouble getting people to volunteer to be steering team members? Do you have any specific questions about this type of steering team member, that type of steering team member? We just want to touch base with you and see if we can help at that point before the applications even come in. Applications are due November 9th, so you've got several weeks to be recruiting your steering team members. Immediately we'll let you know November 13th if your county's been accepted or not. And then the very first steering team training for the accepted counties will be November 29th. That's in Indianapolis. It starts at 10. It lasts until 3. And that's one that the entire steering team needs to attend. And that's very important there because we're going to delegate tasks at that meeting, and everybody needs to be there to talk about who's going to do which tasks. We would suggest that as soon as you start inviting people to be on your steering team, that you ask them to put that November 29th, to block out November 29th on their calendar. And then on the 13th, when you know if you've been accepted or not, you can give people a quick call and say, okay, we're in, keep that date, or oh, we didn't get accepted, and you can take that date off your calendar. Okay. So that is it. I'm assuming that there's lots of questions. After the webinar, please feel free tomorrow, the next day, or next week to call Susan or Mary Beth and ask them any questions that pop up. But for right now, if you have questions, please raise your hand. And remember, you do that by clicking on the little hand icon in the control panel. And Bruce, how are we doing? Do we have calls? Questions?
No questions right now.
Okay, no questions. We'll just pause for a few minutes. See if anything comes to mind. If so, just raise your hand, and we'll ask those where everybody can hear the answer. You can also type in the question if that's easier. No questions, Bruce?
We've got something. No. Wait a minute. Here's one.
Okay, a question.
Amy Ruxer.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Amy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. What county are you from?
Pike County.
Okay.
My question is, and I might have missed the first 5 minutes. I'm not sure if I got in on time. Okay. But when I go to recruit my team members, what information do I have in hand to share with them?
Oh, good question. You actually reminded me of something else I meant to cover and forgot. I know that there are a lot of school counselors on this call, and really all of you. I know that you are incredibly busy. We've had situations in the past where somebody who thought this was a really good idea recruited the steering team but didn't actually serve on the steering team. So that is absolutely fine. If you like this idea but your plate is full, it would be wonderful if you would recruit the steering team, but you don't have to yourself serve on the steering team. We've also had schools that the school counselor was busy, loved the idea, and for the counselors on the call, this really aligns well with Indiana Gold Star School Counseling and the ASCA National Standards and the ASCA RAMP Award. We purposefully have aligned student guidance that happens in the schools with the student guidance that's happening in the community. But that said, I know a lot of counselors, your plates are really full. What we have had happen is that counselors will call a parent that they think might be really engaged in this, and ask that parent to put together the advisory council or the steering team for them. So if you're working with, if you're involved in redesigning school counseling and you have an advisory council, a community advisory council, you might just ask one of your community people to put together a steering team. Okay, now to answer your question, you have 3 things, and they're not online right now, but we'll get them online tonight. One is this webinar. Another is a one-page brochure that just kind of introduces the coalition and talks about it. And then another thing that we have available is a set of talking points, so that when you call someone, just kind of things that you might hit when you do that initial phone call. There's also a letter that you can send them, a follow-up letter thanking them, and then just reminding them that when the first meeting is, if your county is selected. Good question. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Other questions?
So I've got a couple of questions. Can we find out if any other organizations, schools in our county may be involved in this webinar?
Oh, that's a great question too. Why don't we do this? Because there's not only this webinar, but there's the face-to-face workshop that we had a couple weeks ago in Indianapolis. We'll do a roster of everybody that's participated in either one of those things with the county that they're from, and then we'll post those online so that you can connect with those people. Great idea. Good. The other thing, sometimes we get the question, well, what happens if we don't connect with someone who's also applying? If we happen to get 2 applications from a county, we'll connect you with each other and give you a chance to work together. So you won't be competing with somebody else in your county, because we only want there to be one coalition in the county. Another question, Bruce?
Yes. Hang on one second. Does this model relate to the collective impact model that Lumina is promoting to increase educational attainment in Indiana?
This is aligned with Lumina's big goal. We actually have several initiatives that are funded by Lumina, and Learn More has worked really hard to align its work with Lumina's work. So I'm not exactly familiar with that initiative, but my guess is that if that initiative is based on Lumina's foundational beliefs and their big goal and the what they're promoting to reach that goal, my guess is that we're very well aligned. Initially, this initiative was funded partly by Lumina, and Lumina had a college access network that they were sponsoring nationwide, and Indiana was one of the states that was involved in that, and the College Success Coalition was the College Access Network in Indiana. So I think that, I'm assuming that all of Lumina's initiatives are aligned with each other, and therefore we should be aligned with them as well.
So there was a question about the meeting location on November 29th. You might want to broadcast that to all. It's at the Wyndham.
Okay, so it's in Indianapolis at the Wyndham, and starts at 10 and ends at 3. We think that with the 10 o'clock start time, nobody, even if you're coming from Evansville or Gary, the start time isn't too early in the morning. And again, that meeting is just for the counties that have been accepted. And the first meeting and the last meeting, all the steering team members come to, and then the 3 meetings in between, just 2 or more if you want. Just everybody can come, but you're only required to send 2 members. Any other questions, Bruce?
That's it.
Okay. Well, my guess is that after you download the application and take a look at that and think about this and start talking to other folks at home, I know more questions are going to come up. So please do call Susan and Mary Beth. Remember the 5-second rule. As soon as you have a question, just please feel free to contact them. So we're really looking forward to receiving your applications. We will be accepting applications from 20 counties this year, and Learn More's plan is that we'll accept an additional 20 counties each year until all of Indiana counties have active coalitions in them. So thank you so much for your interest and caring about kids and understanding how important post-secondary is to your students and your adult learners and to your economy. And we look forward to working with you in the future.